Well, you have experience to coming to Mexico before?
Not Mexico City. We vacationed in Cancun and we've gone to Cabo, but this is my first time in Mexico City. And I've heard nothing but great things about it. I heard the food is amazing. They say the people are just as amazing. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity and just getting to see the city, working with the kids and working with the coaches and really just sharing my knowledge and my experience about American football and helping these kids and coaches grow.
What do you think about the passion about football here in Mexico?
I'm amazed, and the more and more you talk to people, there's a great appreciation and a great want and a demand and the growth and to learn more about our sport and just the active participation. I think is great because sometimes when you don't get outside and go to other places, sometimes you don't realize what it's really like out there. And so this is going to be a great experience for me. I'm looking forward to seeing the excitement.
What do you feel when you watch people using something about Steelers? No, because tomorrow you will have an experience, but when you see the colors without your country, what do you feel?
Oh, you can't help but be excited. I mean, outside of
Do you have
the
memories, ghosts?
outside of the Dallas Cowboys
Yeah,
fans,
of
yeah.
course, yeah.
No,
We
but
talk about that.
no, but they've always said the Steeler fans travel well, and they are throughout this whole wide world, and Mexico City seems to be no different. And so I'm excited about that. It just makes me more appreciative of the opportunities that I had to play for such a great organization, and it just gives me an opportunity to spread the love, spread the knowledge and my experiences, and try to help kids grow and help coaches grow and go as far as they want to go with football because football has afforded me a lot
Okay.
and I've gone to some great places and so forth. And this is my first time in Mexico City, and I hear the
Of many.
heard the atmosphere is amazing, and so I'm just excited, and I'm just really, really glad to be a part of the Friendship Bowl.
Before to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, of course, I want to talk about the college football because this year was a really great year about all the teams how they work
Yes,
with this new way to make to found the championship.
yes,
So and Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio
yes,
State, Texas Longhorns, biggest universities.
yes. I think the best thing that they could have done is expanded the playoffs because Penn State had they kept it to four teams, I'm not so sure
Yeah.
Penn State would have gotten in. And there's a lot of teams that are deserving of an opportunity because one bad week should not eliminate you from being able to compete for a championship because just like the NFL, they have the playoffs, so you're not going to win every game. And that's the beautiful thing about football. All it takes is 1 week to be off and you could lose, and it's one game. And Penn State got the opportunity to get in, played a great Notre Dame team, and really played just as well as Notre Dame did in that game, but just came up a little bit short. The play at the end was really frustrating. I had a chance to go watch the game in person
Yeah.
with my daughters, and Notre Dame's a great school, great tradition, and to see two powerhouses like that battling it out and going back and forth and coming right down to the wire was amazing.
What do you think about was the mistake Penn State against Notre Dame?
Well, again, hindsight is always 2020. And in that situation, I'm not so sure I would have played for overtime. I probably would have played for overtime in that situation and maybe not have put my quarterback in that position because I think part of coaching is knowing your players, knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, and keeping them out of tough situations where they're not put in harm's way. And I think Drew Aller got put in harm's way in that situation and made a poor decision, with the interception, and that pretty much cost him the ball game.
And it is supposed if Penn State won that game, what team you like? Not Ohio State or Texas Longhorns you want to play?
I was hoping a Big Ten matchup because
Okay.
Ohio State beat us earlier in the year, and we have not had a lot of success against Ohio State. So I would have liked for us to have an opportunity to play them again because we lost to them at home and we didn't play our best game. And I think sometimes going through some of those tough losses, gets you battle tested and gets you ready to take on even more challenges. And so I would have loved to have seen Penn State and Ohio State playing for the national championship down in Atlanta, but it didn't quite work out. And Ohio State's a good football team, and they're very deserving of winning the national championship.
When you've been in Penn State, do you have something that you want to now to give to your teammates or something like that? As something that you learned so much that you appreciate a lot in
Uh,
Penn State.
Probably being a good teammate
Okay.
first and foremost. And then Joe Paterno, when he was there, I mentioned it earlier, he always talked about the best ability is availability. And so being able to be counted on, you know, by the coaches and more importantly by your teammates, because that's what you're playing for. You're playing for the guy next to you, the guy beside you, and the guys that are rooting you on. And then we got a great fan base, and our fans are just like the Steelers, not like the Cowboys, but like the Steelers, and they're passionate
Yeah.
and they give us great support, and we feed off of that. And so I've been blessed to be in an environment and be around people that have been supportive and want to see you do well.
So we need to talk about sad things, no?
Yes.
So obviously, so tell me how a player can wake up the day of a Super Bowl and think this is the day.
It's
And you can take so nervous, you
yes.
can sleep. How about is that?
It's kind of surreal
Yeah.
because you think about it as a kid, you watch it on TV,
Yeah, yeah.
and you have dreams and you hope that one day you may be able to play in a game like that, but you don't think it's going to happen. And I remember as a kid watching those Super Bowls
Yeah,
and
yeah.
watching the Super Bowl commercials, and then to be put in that situation with millions and millions of people watching you play in the biggest sporting event in the world is kind of a surreal moment. And I've been blessed to be able to be a part of three of them, and came out on the winning side of two of them. And we lost one to your Dallas Cowboys, which I don't like to mention, but it happened.
Yeah.
But that whole experience leading up to it, you almost have to pinch yourself to say, like, man, is this really happening?
Yeah.
And the night before the game, but once you step out on the field and you start playing, you kind of forget about it.
The time stop?
Yeah, because it's kind of like you don't hear all the noise because you're so focused in, because nobody remembers who loses a Super Bowl.
Okay.
They only remember who wins it. And so that was something that we always talked about. You make it to the biggest game of your life, okay? And you want to do everything that you can to put yourself in the best position to win, because if you don't, people are going to forget about you.
Yeah.
And when they talk about Dallas in Super Bowl 30, a lot of people can't tell you who they beat. I know because I was a part of it.
Yeah.
But most people just know who won the Super Bowl. Yeah, Dallas won it in, Super Bowl 30 out in Tempe, Arizona. And when we won it in 2005, some people probably can't tell you who we beat, but they know we won it in
There'll
2005.
be a lot of things that I want to ask you, but first one is you go to Arizona and you remember that?
Oh,
Yeah?
oh, it sticks with you because, as a player and as a coach,
You say,
you
oh,
remember,
I hate Arizona. I
you,
don't know. I want to go Arizona more.
excuse me, you remember the losses
Yeah.
in the bad plays more than you do the
Yeah.
good plays, because they hurt so much
And you say, oh.
and it's hard to get it out of your mind. And
And
so,
if one of your daughters say, Daddy, I want to go to Arizona University. Why?
no, absolutely.
Can you imagine that?
Well, luckily, my girls were little at the time,
Okay.
and so losing the Super Bowl, when I was playing, it
We don't talk
didn't
about
it
Arizona.
didn't mean as much to them because they couldn't remember. So they were old enough to experience the good when we won in Green Bay and we won it in Pittsburgh, and so they hold on to those memories more so because they were so little back in Super Bowl 30 in Arizona.
Are you constant? I'm apologize with all the things, no, because everyone are greatness, no.
Yeah.
But Cowboys and Steelers, I'm sorry, but are the greatest teams, no.
Yeah.
So a Super Bowl with that teams, the Super Bowl is more bigger. So how is to try to control all of that when you can see the fans, the pressure, the voices outside, everything around. I think
Well,
it's complicated.
well, luckily for me, I've been on both sides, as a player and as a coach, and it's really up to the
Yeah,
coaches to kind of keep you grounded. And that's where, as a coach, you have to make sure that your guys are dialed in, focused, not getting too caught up in the moment, understanding the job at hand,
yeah,
and not getting too caught up in all the other things that take place because there's a lot of distractions. And so, if you're not careful, it's easy to lose focus with family, friends, tickets, and just the magnitude of the game. There's so many other things that play a part that you really try to stay tunnel vision and keep the blindfolders on and really just think about the task at hand because you know that you may not get another shot.
yeah.
And this may be your only opportunity to play in the biggest game in the whole world.
How are the last minutes of the Super Bowl when you know, oh, we will lose the game?
That's
How
that's
is
not
it?
a good that's not a good feeling. And really, as a player, most players think you always have an opportunity until that clock hits zero.
Yeah.
So
Oh my God.
unless you're getting blown out, and it's not a close game, but most games comes down to the last couple minutes. And so for the most part, and that's probably just the mindset is that you always have belief that you can still find a way because even when we lost to Dallas, we were down 2 touchdowns. And it would have been easy for us to say this game is over, but we kept fighting, we kept fighting, we kept fighting, and we had a chance to win that thing right in the end until we had the interception that pretty much sealed the game. So you keep fighting and you never give up, and that's a life lesson. That's not just a football lesson. That's a life lesson for the youth out there and for the young players and any profession that you're in. You just keep grinding and you just keep fighting, and you let the chips fall where they may because success sometimes isn't defined by wins and losses. Success is defined by the effort that you put forth. And if you put forth the best effort and knowing that you did your best, you can walk out of there with your head held high, not necessarily getting a trophy, but knowing that I did all I could.
Yeah.
And if you can say that, that's success to me.
I will promise finish early. So, um, there being a player, a cowboy player that you remember. Oh, that man is so mad. It's madness. I can't stop this player.
Well, they had a few when we played them. Emmett Smith,
Oh my God.
Michael Irvin,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Deion Sanders,
Oh my God.
Troy,
Colorado.
Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman.
They were loaded, and we had our hands full. But we were a team.
They are amazing. But
Yes.
who is the better, the biggest star there? You can feel the power in the game because we watch it in the television, but in the game, who really have that feeling?
I probably would say, and this wasn't in the Super Bowl. This was probably in just a regular season game. We played the Detroit Lions when they had Barry Sanders, who I think is probably, arguably the best running back to play in a National Football League. Having to tackle that guy and having to go through what he went through because he was on some bad teams, but yet he just kept putting up numbers year after year, year after year, and he just kept grinding. But trying to tackle him, when you tackled him, it felt like you were grabbing steel. And he was so quick, so fast, so strong.
So,
And,
oh man,
and you're
it's
sitting there like,
madness.
how am I going to tackle this guy?
Yeah,
But you forget about it and you have a job to do and you go out and you try not to do it by yourself. You rely on all 11 guys on defense to play together and get the job done and not try to do it individually.
yeah. And in that moment when you lost and you go to the locker room, Bill Coher, it's a biggest coaches, no?
Yes.
What is the moment that you take from that words that they said last that game?
Well, I think sometimes your biggest teachers are your failures. And that was probably hard to understand when you're 25, 26 years old. But as you get older and you get a chance to reflect back on it, you learn so much more from your failures than you do your successes. And I know it stayed with me because I know that feeling that I felt when we lost. I know how those I know how those players would feel. And so when I was coaching them, I said I got to do my best because I don't want those guys going through that. I don't want myself going through that as a coach because I know that feeling, and it is devastating. It really is because you got millions watching. You put so much into it, and the more you invest, the harder it is to accept and give up. And to get to the Super Bowl, you invest a lot of time and a lot of energy, and when you come up short, that is a devastating feeling. And you got the whole world depending on you, and you got the fans that feel it that you don't even think about because they hurt just as much. And I think that's something that sometimes players don't take into account because Steeler fans are passionate. Obviously, you're passionate about your Cowboys. And sometimes we don't think that the fans hurt just as much as we do when we lose. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think about. And to me, it just makes you work that much harder in preparation because you don't want to experience that.
Yeah. Now, just for finish this, um, in a few minutes, Dallas Cowboys select the the head coach. No,
Yeah.
the 10 in the history, and you say Deion Sanders, and there will be many names interesting, Pete Carroll, but
Yes. Yes.
they choose Brian
Being shot in the
Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't have words for describe. I feel sad. I need to say that, but what you can say to the fans when we are so passionate? Of course, we are the worst
Yes.
people when the things not work, and now with the social media, of course, all the
Yes.
comments and all of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
How, like fans,
Yeah.
we need to do for this project works, not.
Yes. The one thing I would say to the fans and all the Cowboy supporters out there, sometimes the sexy hire isn't the best hire. And I know Brian Schottenheimer doesn't come with all the fanfare, and he's not Deion
Yeah.
Sanders, he's not Pete Carroll. But the thing that he does bring to the Cowboys, he brings a little bit of continuity because he's been there with Dak, so they can keep some familiarity. I don't know what they'll do on defense, if he will make a change or elevate or bring someone from outside. If Zimmer will stay, I don't know. But I know Brian Schottenheimer has coached a long time in the league. I got a lot of respect for his
His
dad.
dad,
God rest his
Marty,
soul. He was a great coach, a great teacher.
Kansas
Uh,
City.
yes, Coach Cowher was his student. He pretty much taught Coach Cowher everything that he knows. And so I know that when I get told things and I'm being taught, I know a lot of it's coming from Martin Scheidenheimer being passed down to Coach Cowher. So I wouldn't be too disappointed in Brian Schottenheimer at the time, at the moment, and give him a chance.
Yeah.
And because they got some other issues that they got to take care of.
Yeah.
They got to get healthy
30
for one.
years without championship. Okay.
But you didn't mention Jerry Jones.
A lot of years.
A lot of people say he's the problem, but not the
Last
head coach.
century. Last century. You can imagine that. Oh my God.
No, but I do have a lot of respect for Brian Schottenheimer just because of the time that he's put in. And again, like I said before, I know he's not the sexy hire, but sometimes you don't need all that attention because you bring in a Deion Sanders, you're going to get some of the other things that come along with it and so forth. And Dallas is already popular, so they don't need anybody else to make them bigger than what they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
So
We don't need more, sell more jerseys. We need to work.
exactly.
Yeah.
They got enough fluff already,
Yeah.
and so Dion would just bring more fluff to the table
Yeah.
and so forth. And I know Dion will
I
probably
want my gold glasses.
yeah, and Dion will probably want them to draft his son Shador, and
Yeah.
Dak Prescott isn't going anywhere in no time soon, I don't think. So I think that would have been an issue as well. So I'd say give it a chance and see what happens.
Darren Perry, it was a really great talk. It's really great to talk with you. Thanks for these minutes. And what is the message for the old Dallas Cowboys fans here in Mexico? Remember that time,
all,
Brian
I'm,
Schottenheimer?
all I'm gonna say is Pittsburgh rules,
Oh my God!
even in Mexico City.
I don't have a terrible power.
I know you guys are
We
America's
can't
team.
use this.
No,
Thank you, really.
yes, no, but I'm looking forward to it, and this should be a great time. And the people have been so welcoming coming in, and I know it's going to go by fast, but I'm excited about doing a lot of teaching and a lot of coaching and a lot of drill work. And because I'm a football guy and I just love it. And whenever I get the opportunity to teach, particularly young people that are eager to learn and have the right attitude, that's always a great combination.
And enjoy football.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Darren Perry, a pleasure.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.